call to order meeting. Pledge allegiance.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the September 9th.
December 9th, 2024 meeting of the Kearney Planning and Zoning Commission. Please stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, staff, please roll call.
We have 4 members present, which is a quorum. We're missing Wyeth Irvin and Paula Noble today.
All right, so before we have the minutes of the August meeting. If there are no comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And they're approved. So new business before us. Item 4A is a request for an extension of the Stallings Ranch preliminary plat. Are there any comments from staff?
Sure. Yeah, I want to scroll down here to the Stallings Ranch plan. There's the sheet 1. You may remember that from last year. So last year at this time, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the Stallings Ranch preliminary plat. It's actually an amended preliminary plat. At that time, there was a portion of the property at the northeast corner that was rezoned to RP1 for villas. The location where there was some potential talk of a school, new potential elementary school location happening. So at the September meeting of last year, the board, Planning and Zoning Commission, considered an updated preliminary plat. Approval of preliminary plats lapses unless a phase 1 final plat has been submitted to P&Z. So after 1 year, we've not seen a final plat come through for phase 1, so that preliminary plat's expired. Star Acquisitions is seeking extension of the preliminary plat approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission can approve up to a 2-year extension per code. Staff would recommend approval of a 2-year extension to the Stallings Ranch preliminary plat with following conditions, which are the same conditions that were approved last year as part of the approval. 1, additional revisions if required by Planning and Zoning Commission. 2, provide adequate stormwater detention for city engineer review. 3, provide adequate water service and fire flow for city engineer review. 4, provide adequate sanitary sewer service per city engineer review. 5, submit a final plat and or commercial site plans for review and approval prior to public improvements and commercial building construction. 6, develop the project in compliance with all city codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. A sample motion would be, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve a 2-year extension to the Stallings Ranch preliminary plat approval with conditions per staff recommendation. Again, preliminary plat is only reviewed by Planning and Zoning Commission, so this would not be forwarded to the Board of Aldermen. We do have representation in the audience with the applicant, so Ron Counter with AGC Engineers is here, and Matt Iway of Star Development is here too.
Does the applicant have any comments they want to?
I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair, but it's just an extension. It's amazing how quickly a year goes by.
So I just have one quick curiosity for staff. So your initial approval was 1 year, but we can extend it up to 2 years?
Yeah, I think last year we didn't recognize that in the code, and so saw that, and I wanted to point that out to you that it can be extended for 2.
All right. So do we have any?
Well, last year wasn't an extension.
Yeah, it was the original.
Yeah, it was an amendment to the first one. So the initial Stallings Ranch. So years ago there was an approved Stallings Ranch. Star Development acquired the property, and I think it was maybe March or April of last year. They came in with an amended preliminary plat and a rezoning for the commercial area down at the southeast side, and then September of last year. Is that right?
That's approximately right.
I think so. And then September last year was when they did there was the villas plan and the RP1 rezoning up at that northeast corner. So we took that date as the 1-year date from the original approval.
Okay. Any discussion from the commission? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Move for the approval of the application forward and to forward it to the Board of Aldermen for their next meeting.
This one's not going to the Board of Aldermen?
Right?
Yeah.
Preliminary plats stay with the
Preliminary
planning and
plat.
zoning.
Isn't that what I said?
No,
Forward it to the Board of Aldermen for their next meeting, September 18th.
it's not going to the Board of Aldermen.
Or whatever. You got the wrong date on here. You got last year's date.
Oh, that was that's the staff report that was included last year.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the motion would, staff's sample motion would be, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission approve an extension for 2 years for the Stallings Ranch.
We're doing it for 2 years.
If you want to do 2 years, if the motion was just for one, it could be for one.
I still move for the extension, so you can word it however you want. And if that doesn't suit you, then you or Chastity can do it, I guess.
So are you good with the motion? I can second it.
Sure.
All right, so just so I'm clear, for the record, the motion is to recommend approval of a 2-year extension. Correct, according to staff's recommendations? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, and that one is approved. All right, moving on to item B. Item 4B is a request for an extension of the site plan approval for Lot 13, Couchman Industrial Park. Are there any comments from staff on this one?
Yeah, the same applicant is here in the audience, Ron Calgar with AGC Engineers and Matt Iway with Star Development. So last year, Planning Zoning Commission and the Board of Aldermen approved a site plan for Lot 13, Couchman Industrial Park, located at the northwest corner of Sandbar Drive and Couchman Drive. Site plans also approved after 1 year if a building permit has not been issued for that project. The applicant is constructing a similar building at one block to the south, on the southeast corner of Sandbar Drive and Innovation Drive. That project is under construction. They will, of course, maybe move forward with this project after they complete that project. Staff recommends extension of the site plan approval with the following conditions, which again match the conditions of the previous approval. 1, submit revised drawings if necessary. 2, building permit is required for a wall and handrail. 3, landscape plan per the landscape ordinance. 4, submit a DNR land disturbance permit if required prior to site grading. Site's close to 1 acre in size. 5, install and maintain sediment erosion controls during construction. 6, install a key box for the Kearney Fire and Rescue Protection District. 7, submit a sign permit prior to installation of signs. 8, submit a building permit application prior to construction. And 9, develop the project in compliance with all codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. Sample motion for this project would be, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the Board of Aldermen approve an extension of the Lot 13, Couchman Industrial Park site plan approval with conditions as recommended by staff. Site plans do go to the Board of Aldermen for approval, so this will be forwarded to them.
Is there a time limit on this one?
There is not anything listed. I think since the site plan approvals are good for a year, I think reapproving a site plan
Makes it last a year?
Makes sense that it lasts a year.
Okay.
Any comments from the applicant on this one?
No, sir, same.
Any comments from the commissioners? All right, with no comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to extend the site plan with the recommendations of the staff.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And this one passes. So moving on. Item 4C is a request for an approval of an amended preliminary plat for Noah's Landing. Comments from staff?
Yeah, I'm gonna move down a little further. I'm sorry I didn't bring up the Lot 13 site plan a minute ago. So, yeah. So Robertson Properties, represented by Bob Parks, who's with us tonight. He's with Weiskirk and Parks Engineers, proposes to amend the Noah's Landing preliminary plat by adding 4 single-family residential lots. Original preliminary plat was approved for 100 single-family lots, so they're proposing to amend it for 104 lots. The detention basin constructed as part of Phase 1 was sized to accommodate all 3 phases of the development. There were some some detention basins in Phase 2 and Phase 3 per the very original Noah's Landing preliminary plat. They proposed to replace those detention basins in Phase 2 with additional lots. So in Phase 2, the basin would be replaced with lot 61, 83, and 84. In Phase 3, the basin would be replaced with lot 104. No changes to the street layout are necessary, so the street layout is exactly the same as it was in the original plan. So the plan was originally approved in 2005. It was called Gavin's Grove. Robertson didn't own the property at the time. They acquired it in 2015. In 2021, there was a reapproval of the preliminary plat, and then they moved forward with Phase 1 of that development. So Phase 1 of Noah's Landing is under construction right now, and there are 17 lots that have either been built on or are under construction, single-family houses. Staff recommends approval of the Noah's Landing preliminary plat amendment with the following conditions matching the 2021 approval. So further plat revisions be made if necessary. 2, installation of landscaping on the detention tract per the preliminary plat approval. 3, engineering review fee be paid prior to constructing public improvements. 4, parkland fees to be paid at the time of final plat or by agreement with the Board of Aldermen on a lot-by-lot basis with the building permit. There's a standard agreement that we file as part of a final plat that allows us to collect those at the building permit. And then 5, develop the project in compliance with all city codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. Sample motion would be, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the amended Noah's Landing preliminary plat with the conditions as recommended by staff. Planning and Zoning Commission is the review board for preliminary plats, so this would not go forward to the Board of Aldermen. And Bob Parks is in the audience if there are additional questions.
All right, do we have any comments from the applicant?
Bob Parks, Vice Kirkland Parks. Yeah, the only change on this was like David said, is the detention basins. And that's a positive because we've eliminated a couple discharge points that would be going into existing lots. They're all going to go to the one basin now, and then the discharge from that goes into the existing lake area there. So it's a cleaner operation.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Any comments from the commissioners?
So you're making that bigger, deeper?
Yes, it was enlarged to accommodate all this. And this was in the planning works with the first plat, so it's all been done. But we never went back and updated the preliminary plat until it was time for the next phase.
Yeah, well, makes sense to me. I just don't know why you didn't do that to start with, but I'm sure there was a reason.
It's more challenging and it's a little, frankly,
Yeah.
more expensive to do it this way.
Yeah.
But he did recoup some lots to
Right.
help make that work.
Right.
All right, do we have any other comments or questions from the commission?
I assume that our engineers are good with,
They reviewed the plans. The detention basin had been built for the plan.
and they're happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, you guys took my thunder and asked my only 2 questions, so with that, having no more comments, questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the amended Noah's Landing preliminary plat with conditions as recommended by staff.
With that, a second?
Second.
With the first and a motion and a second, can I have all those in favor say aye? All those opposed? And this one carries. So moving on, item 4D is a final plat approval for Noah's Landing second plat. Comments from the staff?
I'm bringing up the final plat here. So Robertson Properties, again, being represented tonight by Bob Parks with Weiss Kirk and Parks Engineers, has submitted the Noah's Landing second plat, final plat, proposing to subdivide 12 acres into 39 single-family residential lots with right-of-way and easements. Final plat's consistent with the now updated, amended preliminary plat. Engineering plans have been reviewed by the city engineer. We're waiting resubmittal of some revised plans for sanitary sewer and street storm. They have gone through a first iteration, so it'll be a second resubmittal. There are just a few more remaining comments. Plans for water improvements have already been approved. There are 2 off-site easements that are needed at the southwest corner. If you want to look on the screen, you see a little hand. There's a curb inlet box on the north side of the road at this location. So the off-site easement, it's at the very edge of the plat, so it would provide some easement area for somebody to get into and make some repairs if needed over time, just on the outside. And then the sewer main runs north to south, and it kind of comes off a little bit, about a lot west of these, the west edge of the plat, and wraps back around. And so there is a section of sanitary sewer line that needs to have an off-site easement. Both of those easements, though, are located in what will be the third plat. So it's the developer that's granting the easement, and then when they plat the property, it'll show up on the third plat where it needs to be. Parkland fee will apply to each lot. An agreement was signed and submitted to allow the fee to be collected as part of the building permit process, and that form was included in the packet if you saw that at the back of the staff report packet. Staff recommends approval of the Noah's Landing second plat, final plat with following conditions. Submit a revised plat if necessary. Approval of engineering plans by the city engineer. Submit off-site easements. Submit a copy of the DNR land disturbance permit. Install and maintain sediment erosion controls. Payment of the parkland fee. Payment of the 1% engineering review fee. Submit maintenance guarantee for public improvements after those improvements are constructed. Submit as-built drawings for public improvements after the improvements are constructed. Record the plat within 1 year of alderman approval. Record covenants, restrictions, off-site easements, or other required documents prior to or with the final plat. And 12, develop the site in compliance with all city codes, conditions, requirements, plans, and payment of fees and taxes. Sample motion for the final plat would be, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend that the Board of Aldermen approve the Noah's Landing second plat, final plat, with conditions as recommended by staff. This application will be for the Board of Aldermen. They're the review board for final plats.
Any comments from the,
I was going to say, yeah, if there are any questions or comments.
any comments from the applicant on this one?
No.
Comments from the commissioners? I just had a couple comments. So we have off-site easements that aren't secured yet?
We don't have them yet, but it's the developer who is signing the easements. Bob could address that.
Yeah, they're on Robertson's property. They'll be within the third plat when that takes place. Yeah, they just haven't been prepared yet.
Why not?
We don't prepare the easements until we get the plans approved because things change and you can't unrecord a document. So it's always better to make sure that the sewer is going to go there before we actually record the easement.
My concern is that we approve the plat. Help me, alleviate my concern here. So we approve this plat. Something happens, Robertson loses control of that property, that easement never gets recorded. What's the safeguard against that?
Well, nothing.
Now I have platted lots that aren't serviced.
Well, there won't be anything constructed if we don't get it taken care of because we won't get the permits from the city to be able to construct it.
And on this particular one, it's the developer that will be granting the easement. The Board of Aldermen meeting for this is not next week, it's October 5th. There's not a meeting next week, so that there's some time built in there for them to get those final comments addressed by the city engineer so that they have assurance that those easement locations are the right spot and we can have those easements prior to the Board of Aldermen meeting.
So condition number 3 is to have that before the alderman, is that what I'm
Mhm.
taking that as? Okay.
We can modify that if you want to add that particular language to that ordinance, or
Yeah.
to that recommendation number 3.
Yeah, I feel much more comfortable if that was required prior to final action
Yeah,
at the board of
yeah,
aldermen.
we can make sure that happens. If it was another property owner, not the same owner, then yeah, we need to have that in hand prior to.
Yeah, I understand. Things happen though.
Mhm.
Properties change hands. So I'm not saying it will in this instance, but it happens. It happened a lot in '08. So, all right, that's the only comments I had. So, no further comments. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
Do we need to put in about that, or that's just assumed? Okay.
If you wanted to amend number 3 to say, submit off-site easements prior to Board of Aldermen consideration, we can make that change in the ordinance.
I'll move Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the Board of Aldermen approve the Miller's Landing second plat, final plat, with conditions as recommended by staff.
And number 3,
And number
modified.
3, submit off-site easements before the approval.
Look for a second on that.
Second.
Having a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the motion itself? Having no discussion, can I get a vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And it passes. Moving on to monthly permit and certificate of occupancy information.
Typical enclosure, I don't know what it was last time. 3 permits, couple.
I had a couple things I just wanted to ask, because I don't know what's going on around here, so. They gave up on the apartment project down here next to the depot.
I don't know, it's listed for sale.
Yeah, saw that.
That's still, it was rezoned, and there's still
Right.
the Washington Heights plan, so another owner could come in and pick that up. We would hope someone could pick that up and continue with that particular
They
plan.
haven't communicated anything to you that they're giving up on it, they just have put it up for sale.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all I know.
And what's going in across from the funeral home?
Parking lot, yeah, the Baptist church.
Oh. Very good. Other thing I had was, I was made aware of this last week, that, the city is looking at implementing the 2018 building code. And so, it's just my opinion on this, and of course, it makes no difference whatsoever, but, that thing practically shut Kansas City down. Many of the builders, I guess, just got a whole bunch of their permits approved beforehand, so they could keep working. But after those ran out, the permits in Kansas City proper went to almost nothing. And I just don't see any reason why we need to increase the cost of a home when people are struggling to buy them now. And that's what it'll do. And, it won't affect my business any, really. I mean, the price of lumber is probably as low as it's been for a long time. And, but the reason these houses keep going up in cost is because of things like this. You're requiring these builders to do more and more and more, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add any value to the house whatsoever. But that's my opinion. You're looking at 31 building permits now. Maybe you'll probably have a few more before the year's out, but I remember I was here when we were having hundreds, and, we were here a long time looking at different subdivisions coming in, couple every meeting. Nobody's doing that anymore other than, Tim just doing that one out there that we did last time and 2 months ago, I guess. And, the end of Harpo's farm here, when these guys finish that up, all you've got out there is Nation Road and this, and a little bit left in Greenfield, I guess. So, I don't know, you make it more expensive for these guys to build the houses, they'll just look somewhere else.
Yeah, I do want to have a couple comments. One, Kansas City's issue is that they approved a 2021 energy efficiency code, and that's the issue with Kansas City. What
Okay.
we're proposing update to would be the 2018 code. Kearney and Clay County are kind of the only community still on the 2012. Everybody else around us is on a 2018 code. So a lot of the builders are building in Kearney are already used to a 2018 version of the code.
Okay. Well, I can only tell you one that isn't. Because, I talked to him and that's not what he said. So he said, well, he doesn't have to do it anymore. But, that'll be the end of his development in Kearney when these new building codes go in.
What is it?
Hmm.
Can you share who?
My brother,
Oh. Didn't know.
he's gonna follow his son around and playing baseball for a few years here anyway, and so that will also play into that decision. But again, you make it more difficult, and it's just like I told Kathy, the capital is just like water; it finds the path of least resistance. And if there's another place that's less resistant than here, maybe there isn't. I don't know, but it's going to go there, in my opinion. That's all I got.
So I will just echo, having a little bit of knowledge on that, Kansas City's issue is the energy code, it's not the building code. I don't know of any other community that's looking at adopting the energy code. That absolutely stopped development. And they're reaping the benefits of that. So Kearney's not looking at the energy code, and that's the 2021 energy code. So I had a question of why are we not coming to the current code, and why are we going to an old code? The 2018 is being phased out by many communities to come to current code. Why not catch up to current code?
But still, our neighboring communities around us are on that 2018 code, and so we'll follow suit with them. Clay County is going to move to the 2018 also. Typically, the cities in the metro area update together, or try to update together to the same codes. I don't know when that'll happen next, but 12 and then 18, so maybe a 24 is going to be the next one at some point.
I didn't have anything to compare against. I just read what was in the agenda for their meeting.
Yeah.
And it did say, I'm pretty sure it did say air exchangers would have to be installed, didn't it? And
I don't know if it's in that, it says that specifically.
Okay.
That'd be a question
the
for.
articles that I read didn't say that Kansas City did 21. They were all last year's articles, and they were saying 2018. So I looked at, I tried to do some research on this before I, try to get caught up on knowledge. And you think whatever you want to, the Kansas City Star, but they did a couple articles on it, and they were not necessarily favorable, so.
Yeah. And it could be a case where, so there's multiple different kinds of codes. There's the plumbing code, the electrical code, the energy code, and they may be on 2018s on the building codes, the IBC or the IRC, but the energy codes, the 2021s, is what they just recently adopted, and that's what killed it.
I'm all in favor of, insulating these houses the best you can, but when you get to a point of diminishing returns and your house costs so much that there's never any payback, then I don't know what we're accomplishing here. You save $20 a month on your electric bill or something. So.
So yeah, it looks like they're kind of got some hodgepodges here. It looks like currently their electric code's on the 17, gas code's on the 18 series, so it's a little bit all over the board with them. Any other comments? All right, with no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And we're adjourned.